All right, global issues. So, reminder from yesterday. You yesterday were comparing or kind of contrasting, or just I guess analyzing, I suppose, the two different documentaries that you viewed parts of about global warming. And so today we're gonna kind of make it very practical. We're gonna get to like, okay, great. So people are debating this, but has it changed anything? And the answer is like, yeah, it definitely has changed stuff. And not just that you hear about it a lot more, but that our U.S. government is enacting policies and they want to enact more policies to solve global warming. And that might not sound like a bad thing if you think that global warming is a problem, but it still impacts you in a very real way. And so we're going to try to look at that today. Um, Let me fly through real quick the four types of taxes that you were supposed to define yesterday. Um, so first is a regressive tax, and a regressive tax is any tax that hits people of lower income harder. So like an example of that would be say like sales tax, right? Because no matter how wealthy or how poor you are, you always in Michigan at least pay 6%, right? Well, that 6% sales tax hurts someone who's only making $20,000 more than it hurts the person who's making $2 million, right? So it's regressive. Um, the other type is
You got
progressive.
mail.
Um, Progressive is the idea that it hurts the wealthy more. So most income taxes, right? Most taxes that come out of paychecks are progressive. So the more you make in your paycheck, the higher the percentages that comes out. And then the other two is direct and indirect. So a direct tax is a tax that can only be paid by the person that the tax is put on, right? So, like for instance, cigarette tax, right? Like the only person that can pay that tax is the person that's buying the cigarettes, okay? And the government has specifically put it on there so that the person purchasing them has to pay it. All right, that's a direct tax. An
You
indirect
got mail.
tax would be any time that the tax can be passed on to someone or something else, right? Indirect. So, for instance, like business taxes. If you tax a business, remember we learned this in our stapler activity several weeks ago, right? When we were actually, in school. Um, so, an indirect tax is placed on, say, a business. And then, of course, when that business has a higher cost to make, say, a stapler, they don't just go out of business because they make less money. They tend to then either pay their workers less, they tend to maybe lay some workers off, they find some ways to cut costs, or they raise their prices. All right, and so those are the four types of tax, and that's going to be important to remember those as we read about and then unfortunately watch another video of mine about this policy called cap and trade. All right, so you're going to get several resources. You're going to get just over a one-page article that you'll read about it. You'll watch about a 4 or 5 minute video from me, and then after those two, you'll have just a few questions to answer and resubmit to me. All right, so that's kind of the plan for the lesson today.